Greetings, everybody. It's Seven from the UK, and I'm coming back with a panel. We've just heard the testimony of Beth O, and it really enlightens us to where we are as a humanity, particularly those of us of color, those of us who are African descent, indigenous people, Caribbean people. Most people, when they talk about slavery, they talk about it from a past tense. But when you start stripping the experiences of people today, including myself and Sister Cheryl, who's going to share her insight right now, and then we're going to come back to Beth O. We were going to speak to Mark, because Mark has an amazing insight as a weapons expert, and also what's happening with our children being used for cobalt. They're mining and they're taking the minerals from the ground to build these electric cars. And Mark called me the other day to tell me that this was happening. So it was him that instigated this panel, actually. So I really hope that we can get to hear from him today.
Yeah.
But he is being sabotaged, and there's Sister Lauren, who has been going through torture. Basically, she's being tortured at this time, and myself, I'm being put into a horrific situation, as everybody knows. And so, Sister Cheryl, can you unmute yourself, please, if you don't mind? We can't hear you at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
I mean, you're a very intelligent, wise, beyond your years, sister. I have the most respect. Sister Cheryl and I go back 30 plus years. She's an amazing musician, an amazing woman, a Black woman, even though we don't like to use the word Black. Woman of substance, wisdom, knowledge, power, My sister, what say you when you look at your own situation, and you're going to share your testimony, but what say you when you hear what this beautiful sister, who's a grandmother, has gone through, and your daughter? I'd love to have your daughter on this panel to hear how the shock of first her child going, then all the blood being taken, and then being arrested. I mean, this is horrific.
Yeah, two children. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, I'm just so.
I mean, we've got a continuation, because we have to fight for justice. There are going to be criminal charges brought.
Yes, I mean, this is the thing. I think, before you speak, sis, Cheryl, I just want to say, I think that we have been perceived as a people.
The connection is actually a little bit strange.
Say that again. Can you hear me, sis? Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yeah, the connection.
The connection is phasing or doing something. It's not. It's freezing a lot of the time.
Me? I'm freezing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you go ahead, take the floor, my sister. What? What?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, I mean, my situation is, I mean, listening to what Beth has been saying, and also, I mean, I've been going through a situation I started to be aware of it. I don't even know when it started, but it is gang stalking, and I've been being gang stalked since I lost my mother. I was a carer for her, and I was doing that full time because she didn't want carers in the house where we were living in the Wood Green area.
North London.
And yes. And I mean, it's a long story, but I was pretty much coerced into taking a flat here in Finsbury Park on Stroud Green Road. And there were a lot of, I mean, I spent, this property is a Victorian converted place. No soundproofing. The standard is, I mean, I've got rotten wooden windows that I've been trying to get changed. They wouldn't put soundproofing in. Drafty, damp, I've had the lot. And then on top of that, every day, I found out from my Citizens Advice Bureau that this property was used for people with mental health issues. Now, the whole time we've been talking here, there's been some commotion upstairs with the 3 people who are living in a 1-bedroom flat, which the housing people have allowed, which the council forced me in here, and they insisted I couldn't have the top flat. I had to be in the one beneath. There's people beneath me. There were people next door. So every time I moved around, I would be being tracked inside my house. So they basically have the technology to facilitate you being stalked inside your home. Yeah. And anytime I didn't understand what it was at first, but we know about the Gang Stalkers training manual. And that's something I've had a look at. And from doing that and researching, because when I started researching this strange stuff, because it was quite disturbing to know that you're going to the smallest room in your house, sitting down, and someone is walking in above you as you do that and staying there, making you know. So it's like they have a whole bunch of things that they want you to feel. They want to humiliate you in your home. They want you to be stressed in your home. They want you to have anxiety. They want to bother you every minute of the day when you're in your home so that you don't focus. And I literally, if you don't understand that and you come into a situation like that, after you've been looking after your mother full time for 18 months and it's actually started to take its toll on you because you're not sleeping, you're not resting, you're dealing with all of her doctors, her medication, and other issues that are not helping you, it has its toll on you. So when I left there, and then I had to move from a 3-bedroom flat by myself, empty the house.
Yeah,
by
you've missed
myself.
a key component, my sister, and is what happened to your mother. Because it
Oh
wasn't
yes,
that
of
you
course,
just
of
moved,
course.
you know.
Yes, of course.
She,
Now, because my mum was at the house, and we were having she had palliative carers because she couldn't, the doctors couldn't do anything else for her. And I remember having a conversation with my mum where she was saying the pain was too much. She just needed something doing about it. She had chronic CKD, chronic kidney disease, which was brought on by high blood pressure.
but did
And
they just take her out? I mean, did they just give her an injection?
mum was in the house and she had been put on what they called a syringe driver, which, I mean, when they had doctors come to the house and they spoke to the family in the house and they explained that obviously once they put her on a syringe driver, she would slowly, her organs would shut down, everything, all the rest of it. So long story short now, my mother passed on Saturday, the
Did she
9th
pass
of,
or did they inject her to
well, let me just finish. She passed on the 9th of February 2013 at 16:54, and I was with her. But prior to that, a palliative carer had come to the house, and my mother was already on a syringe driver. So she was resting. She didn't need any other attention apart from I was cleaning her face and stuff. That was it. But she was fine. This palliative carer came into, you just let them in, they come in, you don't know what they're doing, but there was a black suitcase in the corner of the bedroom, which they had put there prior to her, that sort of treatment starting, if you can call it treatment. And they said, don't touch it. I was by that time, I was so tired and everything else. I just, did what I did, let them in, they came, did what they had to do. But this palliative care in particular she went to the suitcase and she put it on like a table in front or on the bed where I don't know what she was doing. It was something she was doing it on. But she took, and she had a syringe and she gave mum She just suddenly exclaimed. It was weird because we were in the bedroom. I was in the bedroom with my mum. My mum was resting. This woman was opposite me. The TV was here. The light was on. And she had her back to me. And she just suddenly, it was quiet. Apart from the TV, it was quiet. And I could still hear that. And then she just made this exclamation out of the blue, which didn't make any sense to me. She just said, "Oh, where shall I give her this injection? Oh, I know, I'll give it to her in her thigh." Now, Mum didn't need any other kind of injection, but she had been in that same suitcase, and I was totally out of it by then because I was so fatigued for so many reasons, because I hadn't slept for so long, and I was sitting up with my mum around the clock, and so I wasn't like how I would be sharp now. Anyway, but I did notice that, and it was strange because it stuck out. It didn't make any sense. And she gave her that, she administered that. It was just gone 4:20 in the afternoon when I looked at my watch, and she left. She just left. And I just wondered why she said that. What there was something going on with her. And I just sensed that, but I only figured it out afterwards. Anyway, half an hour later, my mother just sat up, tried to breathe, and then she was gone. And I went back because I was literally going to leave the bedroom to throw away the soiled tissues that I was cleaning her face with. And as I got to the door, she just sat up and she was trying to breathe. It was clear she couldn't breathe. But when I tried to press and administer some sort of, because your chest should be pliable, but she wasn't. When I did that, she was solid and I just saw the word marble against marble in my head. It was like I was trying to press on a chest that felt like you might as well be pressing on marble. And I said, that is not something that would take my mother out if she just based on chronic kidney disease. So I knew something else was going on. And I have a friend, and she's not well at the moment, but I won't call her name, but she was a princess. And she was very knowledgeable about medication, drugs, and these sorts of things. And I can't remember the name of the drug now that they gave. I think you would remember, Seven. I told her what the drugs were at the time, the drugs that they've been using in the care homes during the COVID.
Midazolam.
That's right. That was one of them, and there was another one.
It was morphine and midazolam with the big.
It wasn't morphine. It was something like morphine because they couldn't give her morphine because they said if they did, as her kidneys had been functioning on literally about 3%, it would have killed her. But they gave her something that was pretty much the same, like maybe a generic, the same sort of thing. Anyway, I spoke to Princess because this was bothering me. And the way she said what she said. And it was almost like this woman knew what she was about to do and had some kind of issue within herself about having to do it. And that's why she made the exclamation. That's what it felt. And I still feel that. In any case, I spoke to my friend about this. I gave her the names of the drugs. She said simply, "My dear, your mother was euthanized. One of those drugs paralyzes the diaphragm and the other one stops the heart." And that was when the connection made to me that I couldn't press on her chest because her diaphragm was paralyzed. So that's what, and she was euthanized.
She was murdered, basically. Euthanasia is a polite way to say.
I'm just saying. Yes.
She was murdered.
And I also had a friend that she was just 49, and she was in a hospice in Hampstead, and we used to go to see her. And when I went to see her, they gave her an early birthday party. Same thing. I went to see her the next day, and I told my friend, another friend, I said, she's going to be gone by Monday because Monday is a new week. And they didn't understand what I was saying because it really is that callous. Now, when I went to see her, I could see that her mind was really strong, but her body was totally drugged. And she was trying to keep her eyes open. And then that was the last time I saw her. because like I said to my friend, she's going to pass on Saturday night or Sunday, because Monday's the beginning of the week, and he didn't understand what I was saying. And I was sitting in this room on the other side there where the computer was before I moved it here, and I got a call at 12:38 on Sunday morning to say she had gone. Do you understand? And I was speaking in the hospice to quite a few people that told me that a lot of people that they knew had been euthanized. So this is what the thing is, you know. So, but I've been since I got here, as I noticed, the people that have been above me have had mental health issues. The first man and his wife, he just tracked me. If I went across the street to Tesco's, he would follow me there, even though his wife was upstairs. Follow me around the store, pick up my mail, knock up my front door, hover outside my door. This was before I had a cat that could alert me, or before I had now Ring doorbell cameras, simply because someone's actually been in my flat and put ants in here, and I could not prove that anyone was coming in before, but I just felt it.
Sorry, my sister, to cut you here, but I just want to ask you, just for for clarity purposes and transparency. You've jumped from your mother's situation to your situation.
Yes.
Your situation, were you living at your mother's house?
Yes, I was. Yes, it was the house we grew up in. And
right, you were in the house that you grew up in.
Yes.
After your mother passed,
yes.
were you encouraged to move into the property that you moved into? Or,
Well,
how did that come about?
She'd been renting at the time, and I had succession. It came to me because both of our names were the names on the rent book, or the housing, or the tenancy, I guess. And so, but when she passed, I felt bullied and coerced by the Haringey Council into just moving out of this place. There was no offer to me, and because I was so distressed with the situation of having to be a full-time carer and having to do everything and not sleeping, and the worry, and then of losing your mother, it was just too much for me. I started to get panic attacks, I started to have anxiety, I was claustrophobic, so it really had a negative impact on me. And at that time I wasn't really thinking clearly. I was on my own because I didn't really have any family support. And so it was very difficult for me, and I felt coerced, bullied. It was more than coerced. I felt bullied into taking this flat, because they basically sent a letter to me saying, if I don't accept, they're not going to make me another offer.
So basically, if you don't accept moving from your house that you lived in, to go to this social housing scenario.
And also it was council moved to a housing association, which I also didn't understand at the time. So that was just a situation, and this is how I found myself.
So question, do you think you moved into a social experiment? Because
I think so. I didn't realize it at first, because you just think it's harassment. But then I started noticing that if I complained to the housing association, they blocked me, or they came up, and a lot of people I was meeting at the housing association, like a lot of their managers, were all saying, like, they had gone to a school, and they, when you go to a certain place, people that come out of there speak in similar ways, they say similar words, they have similar sentences, there's patterns to everything they do. I was noticing that, but with people at the housing association, with the police when I called them, with my GP, anybody I dealt with, but I was just thinking.
So they were on script in a way.
Yes, it's weird, but that's what it sounded like to me. Because and I started noticing.
Sorry to cut you, but you're saying things that I think are really important, because I think it might be relative to Beth as well. Is something called common purpose.
Okay. I've
Common
never
purpose. Have you heard of common purpose?
I haven't, but it
Well, it
sounds
is.
like
It's like a cult. They use like neuro-linguistic programming,
okay.
and a lot of these people who work in the public sector,
Mm-hmm.
in social housing, in terms of like social services, a lot of these public sector jobs, they're encouraged to join this thing called common purpose. And this thing called common purpose, they use neuro-linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically that they all have a hive mind. So they're
Uh-huh.
all
Okay.
singing from the same hymn sheet. So they have a
Yeah.
narrative. And
Yeah.
the narrative is something they all chant,
See,
regardless of the
yeah.
truth. It's almost like indoctrination,
Yeah. Yeah.
brainwashing,
Yeah.
brain dirtying rather than washing.
It's like they all washed in the same bath or the same
Yeah.
butt, and they got the
So they
same.
all
Yeah.
speak the
And I
same
know that.
lingo.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
right.
could maybe answer what you've experienced. Because if
Yeah.
you're saying that you've experienced people all speaking the same way,
Yeah. Saying the same sentences,
it
and then you
sounds
think,
like
oh,
the
that's what
same.
this person said. That's what that person said. But you've apparently never met any of them, but you're all saying the same thing. It doesn't, and I pick up on that. These patterns,
Yes.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
I'll
Can I
tell you what-
just 1 second? I just have to pause.
I can't say that I have.
Okay. Well, all I can say is like with regards to that, this is what I've been going through. So everything I have tried to do, it's like I believe it is as an experiment because it's like everything I've looked at now that I've, as they say, taken my face out of the exhaust pipe and stood back to look at what this vehicle is. It feels like every attempt is being made to keep me in this situation and to see if all the stuff that they've been doing is going to break me. Now I've been dealing with this for over 10 years now. And I'm still doing, and it really took my health right down. You don't have peace of mind. It affects you physically. You're stressed, anxious, moving around your own space where you should be comfortable. When you come inside your front door, you're not. That was the effect. It was traumatizing, being tracked around by a strange man who has his wife upstairs. And then now I've got 3 individuals that do the same thing, and they take it in turns like they've got a baton in a relay race. But I've found other ways to deal with that now. So I'm feeling a lot better, and my health is coming up out of that dip. But I believe it's an experiment, and they have different things set. Like, for instance, I do remember the first night, and it was on the night of my mother's birthday, where I had literally had enough and I just wanted to go and do something about it. And I know what I had in my head, and I'm not going to discuss it here. But when I went to cross the front door, I heard a voice say, calmly, if you cross that line, you're going straight to Holloway Prison. And that's what stopped me from doing what I would have done. And I just think that was divine intervention. And since then, I've come across, as I said, the stalking, the gang stalking manual, training manual, which I then even opened up my understanding of this awful experience even more, to see how wicked, incredibly, and that's why people look at you when you say these things, because they have no concept of how wicked. There's no bottom to this wickedness. It's like you could go to the deepest ocean and you could still go further with these people. There's no, and that's why people don't get it. And it's so frustrating trying to reach people, because I have to keep saying, this is a situation where, because I know I've run into, if I had a box of marbles and I dropped them on the floor, they would roll everywhere. That's how many people I've run into, and you wouldn't know which one to go and collect. That's how many people I've run into that are going through exactly what I'm going through. And I meet them all the time because I talk about it all the time. And it's like, it's like, I mean, right now, there's someone right there just walking, just right there as I'm speaking to you. It doesn't stop. They mess with my communications. They try to jam my phone. They're getting paid to do this stuff. They have no, I don't know what kind of people they are, because I would be afraid to get up every morning and go, not thanking whichever God I serve, the fact that I open my eyes today, because there are millions of people who are not waking up on that day. And then you can literally bypass that and go straight to doing something wicked. I don't know what kind of people they are. But they're hiding under the guise of having mental health issues. They know exactly what they're doing. They're being paid for their stuff while you're struggling, and you're just trying to live. You're just trying to live. They came and found me living here. I am the longest living tenant in this whole building.
Wow.
But they came here literally and they've been doing their stuff for 5 years. And a man before, he did his for 2 years. His wife did it for another 2 years. The housing association are complicit in every one of those people doing what they're doing. They've even got people that they call themselves managers that are trying to threaten me with all kinds of stuff. They never treat me they're basically biased. They listen to people who are clearly who I know are known to the mental health trust in Barnet, Enfield and Haringey. It's all across the board. I mean, there's so many things that I've tried. I've got a file here. Where is it? I mean, I could weight train with this. I've written so many letters to so many people over these years, and they just take my information, convolute it, and send it back out there. They do nothing. I've written to my local MP, Catherine West, many times, the councillor, Culver Eldridge Culverwell. I've written to so many people. I've contacted the Metropolitan Police. They treat me because one of their little traps, if you go back to the stalking manual, is to have you institutionalized, is to have you commit suicide, is to have you kill somebody because they've been picking to retaliate, and there's a whole list of them. So they have you in that situation until you fall into one of them. Yeah, that's what they want. And at first, and I know a lot of people who are actually having this happen to them, and they have no clue. They think it's just the neighbors upstairs. They don't realize that this is some nefarious, dark stuff that's just beneath the surface, and they are piggy in the middle. They don't understand that, and that's what's been going on with me. But I've found ways to deal with it. And I just had a spiritual awakening. So I've seen what I am, and I know what I am.
Yeah.
I'm not just the physical here, and that's really helped. It happened in the 17th of April, just gone. And so I use a lot of earphones, music, frequencies, because prior to this, I was stressed all the time. I couldn't focus because I was constantly, and they're listening right now. That's why they're so quiet. They got your phones. I had the male talking to me on this phone when it was connected to WhatsApp, and it shouldn't be connected to another phone. But the thing is, I heard him speaking, and he played back a sound that I've used in here on my percussion instruments down my phone when I finished listening to a link on WhatsApp. Now, my phone shouldn't be connected to anybody's phone, right?
Wow.
And then he whispered, he's got an accent, but I took my over-ear Bluetooth phones off, and I had a Zoom recorder right next to me. I just sandwiched it between the two head cans and recorded his voice. So I have his voice, and then he came up the stairs the other day talking on the phone. I have his voice there too. So if I find I can find someone that is intelligent enough to help me with all of this, his voice is recorded. But they believe that they're smart because they've been given all this technology, and because they're being paid to do stuff that's wrong, they think that it's okay because they're getting a wage for it. They have no concept about right or wrong. And they have, and it's so much, you can feel their hatred. You can feel their aggression. You can feel their hostility for someone that they came and found living here. And they're okay with that. That's how they are. They're okay with that. You know, but that's what I've been going through. But I found ways to deal with it, because there's nothing here on this earth that can break me. All I fear is what's out there. That's the power out there. There's nothing they can do that can't fix. Do you understand? So I just leave them to do. And the more they pick at me, what they don't understand is that there has to be balance in the universe. That's what karma means. It's balance. And they've been on this thing where they've been, it's like a seesaw. It's not balanced. If every day you get up and you pick at a person that you don't know, that's never bothered you and actually welcomed you when you came here, there's going to be a point where the universe will make you have to deal with your karma.
That's right.
And that day is coming, and every day.
Can I just come in here?
Oh yeah.
Because the time is going to cut out. We've got 1 minute left now. But what we're going to do is we're going to come back for a part 4.
Yeah, because we need a solution. We need to talk about solution.
We're going to widen this conversation and come back with the part 4. So that people can also get a feel for the overview of what is really happening to us as a people.
Yes.
And so just come back with us, people.
Okay.
We'll be coming back for part 4.
Thanks, yeah.
So we're signing off for now because we have to shut the program down, but we will come back.
That's right.
Look out for part 4, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, my sister.
Bye.
Thank you for a fantastic testimony. Very powerful. Very powerful. We need this.
All right.
So we'll see you shortly in part 4.
Okay.
Take care. Bye, Beth. Bye-bye.
Bye.